Standard 7 History, Chapter 2 India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj. We shall learn about the various ruling powers in India before the times of Shivaji Maharaj in this lesson. Various ruling powers existed in India during that period. Pal in the 8th century was a famous dynasty in Bengal. In central India, the Gurjar Pratihar power spread up to Andhra Kalinga, Vidarbha, West Kathiawad, Kannauj, and Gujarat. Among the Rajput dynasties in North India, the Garhwal and the Parmar dynasties were the important ones. Among the Rajputs, Prithviraj Chauhan, belonging to the Chauhan dynasty, was a valiant king, that means a strong king. In the first war at Tarai, Prithviraj Chauhan had defeated Muhammad Ghuri, but Muhammad Ghuri defeated Prithviraj Chauhan in the second war at Tarai. Rajaraj I and Rajendra I belonged to the Chola dynasty in Tamil Nadu, were eminent rulers. The Cholas conquered the Maldive Islands and Sri Lanka using their naval strength. King Vishnuvardhan, belonging to the Hoysala dynasty in Karnataka, had conquered the whole of Karnataka. During the reign of Govind III of the Rashtrakuta dynasty in Maharashtra, the Rashtrakuta power spread from Kannauj up to Rameshwar. Later, Krishna III conquered the region up to Allahabad. Three dynasties of the Shilahars emerged in western Maharashtra. One dynasty ruled over Thane and Raigad in North Konkan, the second in South Konkan, while the third dynasty ruled over some parts of the present-day Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli and Belgaum districts. The last prosperous power before the period of Shivaji Maharaj was that of the Yadavas. The capital of Bhillam V of the Yadava dynasty was at Devgiri near Aurangabad. He extended his rule beyond the river Krishna. The Yadava period is considered to be the golden period of Marathi language and literature. It was in this period that the Mahanubhav Panth and the Varkari movement emerged. Invasions from the northwest. Local dynasties like the Yadava and the Rashtrakuta ruled in Maharashtra. But invaders from the northwest conquered the local dynasties there and established their own rule. In the meanwhile, the Arab power had emerged in the Middle East. Arab rulers turned towards India to expand their empire. The Arab general Muhammad bin Qasim attacked the Sindh province in the 8th century. Notwithstanding the resistance of King Dahir, he conquered the province of Sindh. Due to this campaign, the Arabs came into political contact with India for the first time. In the period that followed, Turks, Afghans, and Mughals from Central Asia came to India and established their power here. In the 11th century CE, Common Era, the Turks began to invade India. Expanding their territories, they reached the northwestern frontier of India. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni invaded India many times. He plundered the rich temples at Mathura, Vrindavan, Kannauj, and Somnath and carried away enormous wealth with him. The world-famous enriched library of Nalanda University was burnt down by Bakhtiyar Khalji. Sultanate in the north. In 1175 Common Era and 1178 Common Era, Sultan Muhammad Ghuri of Ghur from Afghanistan invaded India. He appointed Qutbuddin Aibak to look after the governance of the conquered territories in India. Later, after the death of Muhammad Ghuri in 1206 Common Era, Aibak began to rule the Indian territories under his rule independently. Aibak, who was initially a slave, became the ruler of Delhi. He died in 1210 Common Era. Do you know? After Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Razia Sultan, Balban, Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firoz Tughlaq, Ibrahim Lodi, and other sultans ruled over India. Ibrahim Lodi was the last sultan. He made many enemies because of his peculiar temperament. Daulat Khan Lodi, governor of Punjab, invited Babur, the ruler of Kabul, to fight against Ibrahim Lodi. Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the battle, and thus the Sultanate came to an end. The Kingdom of Vijayanagar. During the reign of Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq of Delhi, there were many revolts in the south against the central power of Delhi. From these revolts arose the formidable Vijayanagar and Bahamani kingdoms. The brothers Harihar and Bukka from South India were Sardars in the service of the Delhi Sultanate. Taking advantage of the instability in the south during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, they founded the kingdom of Vijayanagar in the south in 1336 Common Era. Hampi in today's Karnataka was the capital of this kingdom. Harihar was the first king of Vijayanagar. Harihar was succeeded by his brother Bukka. Bukka brought the region up to Rameshwar under his control. Krishnadevaraya. Krishnadevaraya ascended the throne of Vijayanagar in 1509 Common Era. He conquered Vijayawada and Rajmahendri and annexed the regions to his kingdom. He defeated the combined forces of the armies of the sultans who had united under the leadership of the Bahamani Sultan Mahmud Shah. During Krishnadevaraya's reign, the kingdom of Vijayanagar extended from Cuttack in the east up to Goa in the west and from Raichur Doab in the north up to Indian Ocean in the south. He died in 1530 Common Era. Krishnadevaraya was a scholar. He wrote the Amukta Malyada, a Telugu compendium on polity. The Hazar Ram temple and the Vitthal temple were built in Vijayanagar during his reign. The decline of the Vijayanagar kingdom began with the death of Krishnadevaraya. In 1565 Common Era at Talikot in the present state of Karnataka, there was a battle between Adil Shahi, Nizam Shahi, Qutub Shahi, Barid Shahi on one side and Vijayanagar on the other side. Vijayanagar was defeated. Thereafter, the dominance of Vijayanagar came to an end. The Bahamani Kingdom. While Muhammad bin Tughlaq was still reigning, some of his Sardars in the Deccan rose in rebellion against him. The leader of these Sardars, Hasan Gangu, defeated the army of the Sultan of Delhi. A new kingdom known as the Bahamani Kingdom came into existence in 1347 Common Era. Hasan Gangu became the first Sultan of the Bahamani Kingdom. He made the city of Gulbarga in Karnataka his capital. Mahmud Gawan. Mahmud Gawan was the chief wazir of the Bahamani Kingdom. He was a good administrator. He strengthened the Bahamani Kingdom. He started paying the soldiers their salaries in cash instead of through land grants. He brought discipline in the army. He introduced many reforms in the land revenue system. He opened a madrasa at Bidar for Arabic and Persian studies. After the death of Mahmud Gawan, factionism increased among the Bahamani Sardars. The conflict with the Vijayanagar kingdom had an adverse effect on the Bahamani kingdom. The provincial governors began to act more independently. This led to the disintegration of the Bahamani kingdom into 5 small Pas: Imad Shahi of Varhad, Barid Shahi of Bidar, Adil Shahi of Bijapur, Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar, and Qutub Shahi of Golconda. Mughal power. In 1526 Common Era, the Sultanate of Delhi came to an end. Mughal power was established there. Babur. Babur was the founder of the Mughal power. He was the king of Farghana in the Central Asia in today's Uzbekistan. He had heard of the wealth in India, so he planned an invasion of India. The reigning Sultan of Delhi at that time was Ibrahim Lodi. Daulat Khan Lodi was the governor of Punjab under the Sultanate. The relationship between Ibrahim Lodi and Daulat Khan was strained. Daulat Khan Lodi invited Babur to march on India. Taking this opportunity, Babur invaded India. To repel Babur's invasion, Ibrahim Lodi started with his army. There was a battle between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur on 21st April 1526 at Panipat. In this battle, Babur made use of an artillery effectively for the first time in India. He defeated Ibrahim Lodi's army. This is known as the First Battle of Panipat. After the Battle of Panipat, Rana Sanga of Mewar brought all Rajput kings together. There was a battle between Babur and Rana Sanga at Khanwa. Babur's artillery and reserved force played a key role in this battle and Rana Sanga's army was defeated. Babur died in 1530 Common Era. Do you know? After Babur, Humayun 1530 Common Era to 1539 Common Era and from 1555 Common Era to 1556 Common Era ascended the throne. He was defeated by Sher Shah. Sher Shah established the Sur dynasty on the throne of Delhi. After Humayun, Akbar 1556 Common Era to 1605 Common Era ascended the throne. There was a battle between Akbar and Hemu at Panipat in 1556. This is the second battle of Panipat. Akbar's ambition was to bring the whole of India under his control. After Akbar, Jahangir 1605 Common Era to 1628 Common Era became the emperor. During his reign, his wife Noor Jahan played an active role in the administration. Jahangir was followed by Shah Jahan 1628 Common Era to 1658 Common Era as the emperor. The next emperor after Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb 1658 Common Era to 1707 Common Era, reigned for a very long time. After his death, the Mughal Empire became weak. Akbar was the most powerful king of the Mughal dynasty. When he tried to bring India under his central authority, he had to face opposition. Maharana Pratap, Chand Bibi, Rani Durgavati struggled against him. Their struggle is noteworthy. Maharana Pratap. After the death of Uday Singh, Maharana Pratap ascended the throne of Mewar. He continued the struggle for Mewar's existence. Till the very end, he struggled with Akbar to maintain his independence. He has become immortal in history due to his qualities of valor, courage, self-respect, sacrifice, etc. Chand Bibi. The Mughals attacked Ahmednagar, the capital of Nizam Shah's kingdom, in 1595 Common Era. The Mughal army put the fort of Ahmednagar under siege. Chand Bibi, the capable daughter of Hussain Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar, bravely defended the fort. At this time, there was an internal strife among the factions of the Sardars in Nizam Shahi's kingdom. This resulted in the murder of Chand Bibi. Later, the Mughals captured the fort of Ahmednagar, but the Mughals could not bring the entire kingdom of Nizam Shahi under their control. Rani Durgavati. Gondwana can broadly be said to comprise the eastern part of Vidarbha, part of Madhya Pradesh to its north, the western part of today's Chhattisgarh, northern part of Andhra Pradesh and the western part of Odisha. Durgavati, born in the dynasty Chandel Rajput, became the queen of Gondwana when she was married. She was an excellent administrator. The struggle of Gondwana Queen Durgavati against the Mughals is important in medieval history. After her husband's death, Durgavati laid down her life while fighting against Akbar. But she did not surrender. Akbar was well versed and vigilant ruler. His religious policy was liberal and tolerant. He gave equal treatment to all the people from all religions. He founded Deen-e-Ilahi by incorporating noble principles from all religions, but never compelled anyone to adopt Deen-e-Ilahi. Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb won the war of succession among other sons of Shah Jahan and became the emperor by detaining his father in 1658 Common Era. Dara Shikoh, the elder son of Shah Jahan, was famous for religious tolerance. He translated more than 50 Upanishads in Persian language when Aurangzeb became the emperor. At that time, the Mughal Empire extended from Kashmir in the north up to Ahmednagar in the south and from Kabul in the west up to Bengal in the east. To this, Aurangzeb added Assam in the east and the regions of Adil Shahi of Bijapur in the south and Qutub Shahi of Golconda after he ended these kingdoms. Conflict with the Ahoms. In the 13th century, the people of the Shan community settled down in the valley of river Brahmaputra. They established their kingdom there. They were locally known as Ahom people. While Aurangzeb ruled, the Ahoms had a prolonged struggle with the Mughals. The Mughals attacked the Ahoms region. The Ahoms united under the leadership of Gadadhar Singh. Commander Lachit Bopur Khan gave an intense battle against the Mughals. The Ahoms used guerrilla technique in the conflict against the Mughals. It became impossible for Mughals to create a strong base in Assam. Conflict with the Sikhs. The ninth Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Tegh Bahadur, protested strongly against Aurangzeb's policy of religious intolerance. Guru Gobind Singh organized his followers and encouraged their martial spirit. He organized the Sikh youths into a fighting force called the Khalsa Dal. Their headquarters were at Anandpur. Aurangzeb sent his army to fight the Sikhs. His army attacked Anandpur. Although the Sikhs fought fiercely, they did not succeed. After that, Guru Gobind Singh came to the Deccan in 1708 Common Era. There was an attempt on his life when he was at Nanded. Soon after, the Guru succumbed to his wounds. Conflict with the Rajputs. Akbar had secured the cooperation of the Rajputs with his policy of amicable relations. Aurangzeb could not obtain the cooperation of Rajputs. After the death of Rana Jaswant Singh of Marwad, Aurangzeb annexed his kingdom to the Mughal Empire. Durgadas Rathod crowned Jaswant Singh's minor son Ajit Singh as the king of Marwad. Durgadas Rathod fought hard against the Mughals. Aurangzeb sent Prince Akbar to Marwad to crush the resistance of Durgadas. Prince Akbar joined hands with Rajputs and rose in revolt against Aurangzeb. An effort was made to seek help from the Marathas in Maharashtra. In this revolt, Durgadas Rathod continued the struggle against the Mughals for the existence of Marwad. Conflict with the Marathas. In Maharashtra, Swaraj was established under the leadership of Shivaji Maharaj. In his efforts to establish Swaraj, Shivaji Maharaj had to fight the Mughals too, along with other enemies. Aurangzeb came down to the Deccan after the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj with the intention of conquering the whole of South India. But the Marathas offered stiff resistance to Aurangzeb and defended their independence. We shall study this struggle later on. With that, we end this chapter. We shall discuss the entire chapter in detail in class. Thank you.